Hello, what up, starseeds? Happy Halloween weekend surprise. We are doing a little Halloween themed channeling energy update. My name is Sarah. Thank you for joining me. Here are the pages of the stuff I have written and channeled, and we're gonna get through all of it. But first and foremost, I wanted to show off my ghost outfit. So I'm a ghost today for Halloween. I'm wearing my How Light necklace, and I have these fake press-on nails that I'm super stoked about. As you can tell, I love Halloween, but they keep falling off. So we should probably take bets that by the end of the video, I'm gonna lose at least 3. I'm gonna say at least 3. So we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna clear the energy. Whew. All right. It has been a while since I've been able to show up energetically for a video. The videos do require a lot of energy and output, and I have been creating a new spray. I don't have it yet, it's not available yet, but that's where a lot of my energy has been towards product development. So the crystalline sprays, I have crystalline salt soaks, which are behind me as well. And yeah, so the last, I'd like to say maybe 5-6 months, I've been funneling my energy in towards creating and producing these beautiful crystalline products for you that are all available on my website. But yeah, so that takes a lot of energy out of me too. So that's why I can't do both. I've been having a hard time doing both videos and production. So today I have some time and we're gonna dive into it. So the first thing that Spirit wants to talk about, so as always, I always set the intention that for any video that I do, any channeled messages that come through are always in alignment and for the highest good of anyone who's going to watch them. So whether you're watching this on Halloween weekend or a few weeks after, doesn't really matter. The messages will find you when they need to, and it will all be in divine timing. Okay, so the first message that I got when I opened my channel was just like a little message about that saying, the veil is thinning. So we always hear that for Halloween. Sorry, I'm gonna fix this so it's a little bit lower. There we go. So yeah, so we always hear on Halloween weekend, the veil is thinning, the veil is thinning. It's the easiest time to connect with spirits and loved ones. And although I would say that's true, and there is very much an element of collective energies being more open to spirit and the other side and connecting around this time of year, around Halloween, there is a message here that just in general, year round, the veil is a lot thinner now. Just because of everything that's been happening, the collective shift in consciousness and all the transitions we've been going through as a collective in our world, people are more open now than they have been previously to things that they can't explain, having hope or faith in something outside of themselves. And you know, it's a dimension of reality and polarity, I should say, polarity. So on the other hand of that, you do have people that are feeding more into the negative energies and losing hope and all of that stuff. But that's not what we're here to talk about, and that's not what we do at this channel. We always like to look at things from a higher perspective to see what's going on energetically. So yeah, so the veil is thinning. The message with that is, yes, it's thinning. The average Joe that's not really into metaphysical stuff or connecting might be a little bit more open to this around Halloween, but in general, year round, the veil is pretty thin anyways. Okay, next message. Hang on, some water. Okay, so this next message is actually something, it's more of a meditative exercise, I think, yeah, that we're gonna do together. But first I want to read what I wrote. So a message that came through is, it's actually important right now for us to send white light to those who have had past life experiences for being persecuted for being witches or having metaphysical gifts or spiritual abilities, strong spiritual gifts. So sending them the frequency of safety, that it's safe to be who they are in this lifetime and to develop their gifts, step into their power, and activate ancient knowledge. So this might resonate with you deeply as you're watching this. Just might be you, that you feel that you might have had a past lifetime experience where you were persecuted for your gifts or for being a witch or labeled a witch. That definitely resonates for me, for sure. I know that that has happened to me in at least one lifetime, probably more. So I'd actually want us to all just, whoever's watching this video, all of you beautiful souls, we're going to close our eyes together. I'm just gonna spray the Sacred Trinity spray, and we're gonna breathe in and out. And I want you to connect to your heart space, continuing to breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. We set the intention to send white light to anyone who has been persecuted in any other lifetime or timeline for being who they are, for using spiritual gifts, tapping into their abilities. And as we send them white light, we also ask to connect them with the frequency of healing, and healing any shame or guilt they might have been made to feel for simply existing and for having these abilities. And if it resonates for you, you can also send this white light to yourself to help heal this in yourself. Connecting with the frequency of safety so that these souls know that if they are here now in this lifetime, that it is a different timeline, different time, and it's safer for them to be who they are in their knowingness and their power. And they can still be selective with who they want to share information with or how they want to go about their business, but that it's safe for them to relax and to hone in on their gifts and to develop these gifts if they choose to do so, whether in the privacy of their own home or if they want to be of service and offer this to the community. Blessing each person and soul that resonates with this and that is in alignment with this blessing, sending them white light. And so it is. Breathing in and out. Release. And coming back. Welcome back. Thank you for participating in that with me. I truly appreciate that. And I know that the souls that needed to hear that and needed that blessing do as well. Okay, so next message is you're being encouraged, or we are being encouraged to connect with our ancestors this weekend, asking for any messages or advice. Of course, you can connect with them at any time during the year, but there's just something about this time period and the energies. It's almost like a little portal. So I wrote down portal. There's a portal of time between now. I'm filming this Saturday, October 29th, until November 5th. So basically this whole week coming up, there's a portal of time that makes it easier for us to connect with our ancestral energies. And that's where that thinning of the veil comes into play. And there are different cultures, of course, that celebrate the Day of the Dead and connecting with their ancestors and bringing them gifts and setting up altars and all of those things. So yeah, so ancestral clearing and healing continues to be at the forefront for most. So if this resonates with you, if you've been having some stuff come up in your direct family unit or just feeling ancestral energies, this would be a really good weekend or window of time to dive in and do some ancestral clearing. And that can look like, you know, saying shields up, calling in your angels and guides, and asking if there's any messages from your ancestors, or if there's anything that can help you along your journey, or if there's anything that you need to clear or heal, and visualizing gold and white light. And anything else that comes up for you intuitively, trust that. It was just more of like a general guidance in case I was feeling like someone might not know how to do that. So that's a baseline where you can start. And to just do a couple deep breaths in and out. And even if you don't see anything or get anything, you've asked for it, you're breathing, you're being present, and just know that that's enough for that to get activated within you, and to help you with your energy clearing, with your ancestral lineage. Okay, next message, leaning into the discomfort of anything that's coming up for you at this time. So anything that you're struggling with, anything that's in the forefront of your reality at this moment in time, ask it, talk to it, engage with this energy, ask it what it's here to teach you. Ask this perceived struggle or obstacle, okay, what are you here to teach me? What can I learn from you? Get really quiet, get in your stillness, get in your wholeness, see if you can get an answer, see if you can zoom out from the ego and human perspective and get that higher perspective of what lessons are playing out. Maybe there's a karmic contract here, maybe there's past life stuff coming up, but whatever it is, ask what the lesson is that you're here to learn. Maybe it's just this life stuff. Doesn't necessarily, everything that happens to us doesn't necessarily mean, oh, it was a past life, or oh, it's karma, or oh, it's ancestral stuff. Sometimes it's our own stuff, and we need to look at it, and we need to own it, and we need to go from there. Yeah, so ask what it's here to teach you, surrender to the lesson, and trust spirit to help you and guide you with the rest. The more you avoid or push it down, the louder it's going to get. So I'm feeling like there's some people that are watching this video, like, you know that there's a part of your maybe healing journey or something that you've been putting off for a really long time because it's too much and you don't want to look at it. And although there is such a thing as divine timing and being ready to look at certain things, the more we continue down this, you know, transitional period of humanity, collective consciousness, the louder these things are going to get that we continue to avoid or push down. So this is like a gentle little poke or nudge from spirit to be like, hey, remember that thing you've been putting off for a long time? Might be time to start looking at it. And you can, whatever it is, you don't have to dive in head first if you're not ready. You can just dip your toe in. You can start to move towards it. Maybe read a few books, book a session with a therapist, book a call, do a meditation about it. I don't know. You can just slowly start to open that door in chunks that you can handle. And you can ask spirit to help you with this as well. Like, I want to start, for example, okay, like a mother wound is coming up. So, okay, spirit, guides, angels, whoever it is that you communicate with, I would like to start exploring the mother wound and healing that, but I ask that as I do this, that it comes in at a pace that I can handle with ease and grace, and that I don't, so that I'm not overwhelmed. Little digestible chunks at a time is a perfect way to start looking or chipping away at stuff that we've maybe kept over here for too long. Because the thing is, the stuff that we're keeping over here is always playing a part, even if it's an energetic thread into what's happening over here, which is your current reality. So if we don't, you might not be dealing with it, but it's still energetically there and it's still influencing your present reality. So yes. And I also wrote, going back to the lesson, if you're struggling, like, what is it here to teach me? You can also ask to learn the lesson with love and compassion. That's something else that you can do. Okay. So the next message from Spirit is to continue to go off how you feel in terms of socializing. So if you still feel like 2.5 or almost 3 years, or whatever the time thing is since the pandemic started, if you're still feeling like right now you want to cocoon and you don't want to socialize that much, Spirit's just saying that's totally fine. Go with it. A lot of us are getting more energetically sensitive, more in tune, maybe not as keen on being in crowds or public places as we were before, and that's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with you. You're just more energetically in tune, more energetically sensitive. And also the people in these spaces are awakening in their own time, and they're on their own journey. They have their own stuff that's been coming up for them. So it's also energetically a little bit more, I almost want to use the word chaotic. It doesn't have to be chaotic, but a lot busier than it was maybe like 3 or 4 years ago. It was still busy if you went somewhere with a lot of people, but now it's like if you go somewhere with a lot of people, all these people are having their own like activation and awakening, and they're having stuff come up for them, and they're having to deal with things they haven't dealt with in a while. So the energy is just a bit more heightened than it has been in the past. So not to think there's anything wrong with you. If you just want to chill, or you just want to hang out during the day, and then you want to like have your night routine, or you just stay in with a cup of tea, or like, that's totally fine. Or if you'd rather have someone come to your house, Spirit's like, this is not a big deal. Don't play too much into this. Just go off of how you're feeling. And yeah, eventually it's all ebb and flow and balance with life and cyclical. So this is just a period of time where a lot of energetically sensitive people are continuing to want to cocoon. There's nothing wrong with that. Honor your soul, honor your needs, honor how you're feeling. You can say no to invitations just because you don't feel like going. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, preserve your energy, protect your energy, do what you gotta do. That's the most important thing. Okay, so then there was, so another message. There's a lot of messages here. I don't even know if I'm gonna get to a card pull, but we're gonna see. We're gonna see our time, how much time we get. So consumerism and shopping addiction, Spirit wants to talk about. This can manifest with spiritual and metaphysical tools. You know, typically when we think of like shopping addiction or consumerism, it could be like someone's buying a lot of clothes, or a lot of designer clothes, or they're going to a lot of fancy restaurants, and they're doing like, you know, running their credit card and like all these like shallow things. But just to be aware that there is a side to that with the spiritual community or spiritual industry, in terms of like having a shit ton of crystals, having a lot of statues, having a lot of jewelry, having a lot of like sound healing stuff, and like getting all of these things. There's nothing wrong with these things. They're beautiful tools, but Spirit's it's just a gentle reminder here that they are tools, and that you truly don't need anything to be spiritual. Spirit says just the clothes on your back and the willingness to grow, evolve, and show up for yourself in your wholeness, that's enough. So just something to be aware of, calling a bit more balance into this area. It's nice to have the crystals. It's nice to have the statues. They can, you know, really amplify or improve the energy of your space. I mean, as an energy healer and practitioner, I have a bunch of singing bowls and tuning forks and crystals because I use them in my work, but it gets to a point where it's like, okay, how much do you really need? Like, when is it enough? I always love going to metaphysical stores and looking at crystals and checking things out, but it's like, I've got everything that I need, so I don't necessarily have to keep acquiring more, because then it just sort of goes into that frequency of consumerism, and it is the same energy as if, you know, you were buying a lot of designer clothes that you didn't need, or going out to a bunch of restaurants when you could cook at home a bit more. It's a very, it's the same thing. It's the same energy, just expressed in different ways. So true spirituality will always come from within and will never be ranked by how many singing bowls or oracle cards you have. You're not like the best healer in the world because you have 17 singing bowls and the other person only has 5, so you're stronger than them, you're better than them. That is bullshit. You are who you are, your abilities are what they are. All you need is yourself and your inner compass, And you know, we can have the tools, we can have fun with them, we can use them, they can help us to grow our gifts, but we don't need to depend on them, and we are not defined or ranked as healers or practitioners by how much shit we have. It's what you're doing with the gifts and what's with the clothes on your back. That's enough. If all this stuff was to go away, I no longer had the office, get the certificates off the wall, get rid of the singing bowls, I would still have my spiritual abilities and my gifts, and I would still want to be using them to help people. Even if someone came to me and I just used my voice to help them with a meditation, or I just used my hand chakras to place on them and send them Reiki energy. So yeah, so just a message to not get so caught up in this stuff. And it's like, what are you doing with that stuff, but what would you be doing without it? Okay, we're on the last page now. There are a lot of messages that wanted to come through. Wow, we're already at 20 minutes. Usually the videos are like 10, 15, but you know what? This is important stuff, and it's been a while since I've done a video. So yeah, okay, so next message, resourcefulness. So going back to what we were talking about before, the ancestral energies and the healing, you can tap into ancestral energies. Specifically, I wrote down pioneer knowledge of canning and preserving food, using only what you need, preparing only what you're going to eat. Like, we can have some backups of stuff, sure, like some extra canned goods or some dry foods or whatever, but when we're cooking stuff, we don't need to have the entire table completely full of food if we're not gonna eat it. And okay, if you did cook too much but you're gonna eat it as leftovers, then that's fine. But just not wasting, not being wasteful, just the energy of resourcefulness, tapping into that ancestral, those ancestral energies and pioneer energies, starting to get more resourceful with what we have and our hand chakras and what we can do and create for ourselves. Energy techniques and affirmations for staying warm and having enough to feed the family or the village. So when I say this, this is not fear-based at all, like, oh, we're gonna lose the heat, we're not gonna have enough food, panic, panic, panic. No, this is just like a cautious awareness of just having some extra stuff or some extra tools on hand, just in case. Not because we're anticipating anything to happen, not because we're gonna be focused on that and fear spiraling and, oh my God, I can't get enough paper towels, or I've gotta get like all 20 cans of lentils at the grocery store because like you never know. Like, no, have a few extra cans on hand. Learn how to do some canning stuff yourself. Just like starting to get back into those ancestral energies. This is more of just like a heads up, FYI, from spirit. I don't really see it getting too bad, but you know, the grocery store prices are going up. Feeding a family is expensive, rent is expensive. So how can we get creative and resourceful with what we already have and our talents and our gifts, and what can we learn maybe off a YouTube video that we didn't know about before, and how can we just like capitalize on, maybe that's not the right word, but capitalize on what is available at our fingertips and how we can preserve things. And that's just really coming from a frequency of just being more balanced. And that does go back sort of to that consumerism point we just talked about, right? Having a balance of only using what you're going to need and having like a reasonable amount of like backups of certain things, but not spiraling and getting too much stuff, right? Like not buying all the designer clothes, not buying all the cans of lentils. Balance in your truth, in your alignment. A little bit of preparing with caution is never a bad idea, but we don't want to go off kilter with it. And affirmations for staying warm, like visualizing like red around you and warmth, and you know, having some extra blankets, and having, especially if I live in Canada, so if you live in a colder climate, just having things, if you've got a fireplace in your home, get some extra firewood, but we don't have to go balls to the walls like crazy and get like 15 bags of firewood. Just having a few little extra things in hand, just to, yeah, like tapping, it's tapping into that pioneer ancestral knowledge that is available for us, and you can even like Google stuff about pioneers and learning about how they did things. I thought that was a very interesting point. Okay, and then sort of to piggyback off that, I wrote there's going to be a collective shift / transition towards more community living. So connecting and relying more on each other than those in an illusioned position of power. So strength in numbers, leaning on each other, figuring out like which neighbor is good at that, or this neighbor has chickens, or like, I don't know where you live, maybe that's not even gonna be a thing. But yeah, there's just gonna be a shift towards more community living. And it's probably going to come through as more of a necessity at first, but then it's just going to become more organic and natural, and we're going to be like, why did we ever stop like leaning on each other in support? Like this segregation of, you know, not everyone, but people living in tiny boxes stacked on each other, and you live there for years, you don't even know anything about your neighbors. Just energetically is just can be so isolating, and you know, that can add to a lot of the isolation and the loneliness that people already feel. So then kind of like a last message, couple messages here. So I wrote, it is through our hearts, communities, and faith that we will transform through this shift in collective consciousness. And no fear, we are here to plant the seeds of light. May they take root and nourish the next generation of souls and the generation after that, which could even be us. If you're into reincarnation, the veil is thinning, so maybe you're more open to it, but pretty sure if you watch this whole video, you're pretty open to it. Okay, so I'm going to pull a card. I always say a card and it ends up being more, but just to kind of wrap this up, and I'm gonna use the Past Life Oracle deck from Doreen Virtue and Brian L. Weiss. I know Doreen Virtue has denounced all of her stuff and she's not into this at all anymore, but I personally still resonate with some of the stuff that she's done, and until it doesn't resonate with me, I'm going to continue to work with them. Okay, so are there any extra messages that you need to know for this video? So of course I pulled 3 cards. Whoa. Wow, so I pulled 3 cards. I never pulled the one. So the first one is phobias. And I think all of these cards basically just recap everything we've just talked about. So I'm interpreting this card as, you know, we were talking about resourcefulness and not coming from a fear base, like, oh, it's gonna be a cold winter, we're gonna be hungry, they're gonna cut the power. And also, yeah, hang on, sorry, 1 second. I'm just getting my notes back out because we talked about so much. Yeah, phobias. And also I see this as well as some of us finally facing those things that we have been putting off to the side or not willing to look at yet. So facing our fears, that saying, feel the fear and do it anyway. A lot of us are going to be approaching or slaying that inner lion or dragon that has kept us at bay for so long. So if anyone's been really doing some really deep work on some trauma related stuff or stuff they thought they would never get through, this message and this card is for you, that you are not your phobia, you are not what happened to you, and that you do have the capabilities to evolve and grow through this, and that you're already doing it simply by showing up for yourself. Okay, so the next card, you guys are gonna die. Persecution and inquisition, like hello, that whole thing we just did at the beginning of the video when we were sending white light to anyone who's been persecuted in other lifetimes for being labeled a witch or anything to do with metaphysical stuff. And you know, that's very timely because this is a Halloween themed video. So yeah, that is pretty mind-blowing. And then the third one is lessons and blessings. So asking, what is the lesson? What is it here to teach me in terms of any struggles or obstacles? And also just perceiving this entire time, or having the perspective of this entire time of the lessons and the blessings and the knowledge that we are gaining, and that we do have a limited time here with these vessels. We're not going to be here forever. So evolving your consciousness, learning what you need to learn, growing how you need to grow, and being in your stillness, your wholeness, your consciousness as the beautiful being that you came here to be and that you already are. All right, so that's it. I'm gonna spray just to kind of clear the energy. Thank you so much for watching. If you've watched this whole video, you're amazing. Thank you for being here. Please like the video, comment, share, subscribe, share it with your friends. And yeah, hopefully this resonated for you. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a fantastic week, and I will catch you back on here the next time I have a few moments to do a video. Namaste. Ciao.